It's over.
All right. Dance. We are going to be This is only going to be a 1 hour show. I am joined by the Reverend and the Sultan of Suit, Eric O'Sullivan.
Hello.
And the Japanese AI himself, Gray.
Oh my goodness, I've become a Japanese AI. It's all Jim's fault.
It is all Jim's fault. And now I'm sus because of Jim.
Are you sus now?
Dave, I'm now the sus.
What?
I'm so sus now. It's in. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's great. But we're here with Gray, Japanese AI.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys here.
Great to see you too. Thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah. So this is only going to be a 1 hour show, and one of the topics we'll be talking about is Dimond going bankrupt and what's it going to mean for small businesses and indie studios.
Mm-hmm.
But first, the first topic we're going to talk about. Last year, we lost a great comic book writer and great comic book artist, Ed Piskor, and
yes.
Unfortunately, it was by his own hands, and this was due to false allegations in which people dogpiled on him within the comic book space. And unfortunately, he couldn't take it, and he ended it, decided to commit self-deletion. But also last year, the same allegations have come in to another artist, and that is Neil Gaiman, and it has finally surfaced, and it's finally being recognized after almost a year. And now, yeah. Ooh, red room.
Is this Gaiman? Really?
Oh, Ed Piskor.
Ed Piskor, too great. Ed Piskor, 2022. I met him at the Tokyo Comic Con. Just fortunately, he was there and he signed. That was really cool. He signed it.
Yeah.
This is a crazy book, by the way, Ed Piskor. But yeah, big fan of his. Terrible what happened to him. That's really terrible.
You got to talk to him for a minute?
Just to say hi, but I didn't really know him that well.
Mm-hmm.
He was with Jeff Darrow.
Oh,
same table. So I was talking to Jeff Darrow about his Matrix work.
Oh, geez. It reminds me, I have not had a copy of Hard Boiled in decades. That's such a good book. Especially because we're big Blade Runner fans. So it's not Blade Runner, but it's just so associated.
Yes. Yeah.
Bandito, are you a fan of Blade Runner?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Blade Runner.
Awesome.
I remember watching it almost every time it came on Saturday afternoon TVs on our local channels out here in California. But
cool.
Ed Piskor, this guy was such a great guy. He basically put hip hop and urban feel into his type of comics, and it always pissed me off when people saying that he was just doing it for cultural appropriation because he was white. But he grew up in that type of environment.
And hip hop's its own culture that transcends skin tone. Really, look at Cypress Hill.
Yeah, yeah, and plus this guy didn't deserve what happened to him. I mean, American comic book artist has died at age 41. His family announced Monday, April 1st. Piskor's cause of death has not been made public, but prior to his death, he posted what appeared to be a suicide note on social media in which he addressed the recent essay allegations against him made by two women, artist Molly Dower, who accused him of trying to seduce her while she was still a minor, and another woman, Molly Wright, who claimed that Piskor asked her for an old-fashioned in exchange for helping her career. Piskor denied these accusations in a long 5-page message that he published a few hours before he died. Experts, however, argue that minor factor influenced suicide, that it cannot attribute it to a single event. And this really, I mean, but when you go through Ed Pitt, what's happening right now with Neil Gaiman, he had like 5 different women come in with receipts and showing evidence. While Piskor, they were just allegations. 2 women who are most likely jealous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is Gaiman so protected?
And did you hear about Dark Horse Comics today?
Yeah, that's what I
saw that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to share it right now. And
because that's it. I mean, they are allegations, and there's action based on allegations, not proof.
Yeah.
So it's.
And this should, damn it. Sorry, my computer's really slow, so it's bugging out. All right, so Dark Horse Comics drops Neil Gaiman's following SA allegations and cancels Anansi Boy Comics.
Yeah, I just saw it. The new issue of Anansi Boys was like on the shelf last week.
Yeah,
comic book shop, and it's like it was like issue 7, and I'm just thinking like this is probably going to really bum out all 1,000 people who are buying Anansi Boys, and also the plans on the collected edition have been scrapped too.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully the rights of that can just revert back to Gaiman, and maybe he can publish it on Kickstarter or something. You know, I mean, think of imagine if you bought the first 7 issues of that.
You don't get the finale.
Now you have to suffer for this.
He's rich enough to publish it himself, isn't he?
Right, yeah. But it's like, I mean, come on, Dark Horse Comics. You know, no. I mean, like, what about what about the people that've been buying your book who supported this? You know how hard it is to support floppies these days in the direct market? Jeez, I understand there's this thing going on, but
yeah,
that's I think that does not serve the guest well. It does not serve the reader well. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, what? But this has been a year that they finally taken action about it. Almost a year that they finally taken action about it, and with Piskor, they did it immediately.
Yeah, but you got to compare like Neil Gaiman's, professional clout. He was such a big name in comics and books for years, and he was always saying the right things. I'm a male feminist, and you got to believe all women and things like that. So he was kind of too big to be touched.
Huge in that culture, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't never listen to a Dresden Doll song in my life, but I know that they were a huge thing, especially in like the early aughts. I mean, so he was a rock star kind of, and he married a rock star. You know what I mean? And they had rock star sex lives. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but like with Piskor, I know Piskor refused to take sides of the comic book war. I mean, he didn't want to be part of the Whisper Network. He didn't want to be part of Comicsgate. He just wanted to do his own thing. And when the allegations came out, they both came after him, and I found it very unfair.
Yeah, the absolute silence with the usual suspects: Heidi, Rich, Heather Antos. Where's Mags Visaggio? Where's Kelly Sue DeConnick and Gail Simone? Where are they? Remember, even Gail Simone even came after Mark Miller, and then Mark was like, "Gail, what are you talking about?" And she walked it back, and that was around Cancel Pigs 2024. Remember that? I remember. Yeah, that was like.
She couldn't. Mark Millar was able to put in has enough clout that he could actually fight these allegations, because I don't think he's that type of person. He's happily married. He does the only things he does is he he actually hires models to draw off of. Kind of like Jim Belant, who does Tarot, the Witch of the Black Rose. He gets his ideas from like showgirl, from the old showgirls, 1920s showgirls pinups.
What was that? What was that? Oh gosh, please forgive me. I'm not tuned into this one. It was that show with David Tennant, and he's like the devil, and he's with his twin brother. What's his?
Good Omens.
Good Omens. Yeah. That's Neil Gaiman, correct?
That was based on Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman work.
Okay, and
they co-wrote the book.
Okay, that's one property. They were adapting a Nancy Boys for Amazon Prime show. That's probably gone now. But there was there's 2 seasons, I believe, of Sandman. With
Yeah, they've been filming the second one. I think they finished it, haven't they? They're supposed to be bringing it out, but I think they're talking about taking his name off it or something. I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's too complicated.
That's all contractual stuff. I mean, he is the name that sold it.
Yeah, and I think that they're also going to take off that the Simpsons episode with him in it from reruns.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I've been. I hope part 4 is being produced and will be published as well. But I have parts 1, 2, and 3 of The Sandman on audiobook, and it's pitch perfect to the comic book and to your trade paperbacks. It's just in this robust radio play thing. You get incidental music. Really, you get sound effects, and you get different actors, quality actors doing like a radio play level work. Oh, wow. And it's so wonderful. And it just reminds you of how good Sandman is. And will I get part 4 of that? Or did Gaiman, F us too?
Eric, one of the interesting things about the radio, the audiobook version is compared it to the Netflix TV adaptation. They didn't race swap any characters for the audiobook, if you noticed, but they did for the TV show. Interesting.
I mean, I think it would have been more interesting if, to cast Death, and you would have given her like the heavy black eyeliner that Death has with the pale skin. If you just used like you could have used white as the primary color for her eye makeup, and the kind of like a reverse of it. And I think it would have been more striking and more iconic of the character. I never had a problem because I didn't care. I cared more about Joanna Constantine being like,
Yeah, that was stupid.
That
was supposed to be over rights, though, wasn't it? Again, that's the excuse they gave.
Yeah, because John Constantine's rights are elsewhere, and it might even still be with those CW shows. He was on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, but
Constantine had
CW lost the rights to DC after a few years.
Okay, because there was an Arrowverse.
Yeah, but
Constantine,
everything.
He was great. Was it Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan, he was great.
With the Scouse, a bit of a Liverpool accent, mate. He played it really well, like that.
That's.
But here's speaking about Constantine. They're saying that Keanu might come back as Constantine because James Gunn really liked his portrayal of him.
There've been rumors about that, haven't there? Yeah, maybe.
That first Constantine movie was really pretty okay for all the swaps that they did, and Shia LaBeouf as Chaz. That was kind of odd because Chaz is a bloke.
He's a London taxi driver, mate. All right, mate. With a bit of Cockney accent, he should be.
Yeah, I actually like. But Chaz, I really like Chaz in the actor who played Chaz in this Constantine series.
The TV series was really good. That's
instead of being
neglected gem.
Instead of being like a London cabbie, he was a New York cab driver.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
It had a thick New York accent.
So Eric, just going back to the point about,
yes.
I don't really like to talk about this kind of thing usually, but the race swap of Death, you've got that fantastically iconic, visual image of the character who from the comics, and then they decide to, change the race. Okay, fair enough. But when you've got such a striking image, why would you do that? It's like, would you make Morpheus black, or would you make Superman, Chinese, like the new Superman, or would you?
Culture.
I don't understand why they did that with such an iconic image.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Well, it was that's just classic woke and in TV production. I mean, and look at Gaiman himself. It would be shamelessly woke, and he was like, he's very defensive and very.
He went after anybody who criticized that. He went after them like crazy, saying.
He went after my friend Clobber in times, Mike Alonso, God bless him, R.I.P. And I just remember seeing him getting into just a tiny tiff with Neil Gaiman. I'm like, oh, that's great, but it's also Neil Gaiman will engage with you, or would have, 3-4 years ago, would have engaged with you on Twitter, especially if you came across as some kind of toxic fan. Yeah, and that smarmy, way of his. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
smarmy Englishman like me.
Yeah, but now he's hiding everything from. He's not responding. He hasn't.
He's very silent, isn't he? He's gone radio silent, apart from denying all our allegations.
The smartest thing to do. And I mean, I unfortunately said that what's going to happen to Neil Gaiman? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen to him. He's too embedded. He makes the company. He makes too much money for too many. He
makes
people.
Too much money.
Especially in like, where does DC Publication get the majority of their revenue is from their back catalogs, and a lot of that is selling the same copies of Watchmen over again and of Sandman. He sells this. Sandman. DC sells a shitload of Sandman in trades and in Omnibuy, and
But isn't Watchmen Alan Moore?
I mean, just as just as an example of like DC just keeps printing money by continually keeping Watchmen in print and Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. Nights.
At least Gaiman gets money from the reprint of The Sandman. Well, I'm sure he used to. Alan Moore got nothing, did he? Famously for Watchmen.
I mean, Gaiman had he was just such the big recipient of the big contract. That 90s heyday. It was like the late 80s, early 90s, and there was just a sweet spot of this. They were rock stars, and they got great contracts, and they have rights in perpetuity to you know what I mean? It's wonderful. Yeah, then DC stopped and Marvel stopped giving contracts like that because people like that almost broke the industry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're paying them too much because.
Yeah, that's because the bubble cracked. The bubble popped, and the comic book industry just crashed. I mean, Marvel decided to start selling some of their properties.
Bandito, did you ever read Sandman? Because I know it's going back quite a few years. Me and Eric we're getting on a bit, aren't we, Eric? So
yeah. I have
late 80s, early 90s.
I've read it.
I have not read Sandman, but I have seen many of the crossovers that.
Wow, it's worth it.
That Gaiman has had with especially with Justice League, and where he had like Superman talk with Morpheus, and the one where Death actually went to Gotham and she met with Batman. I mean, those are some incredibly written books.
Sandman started in '89, and by 1993, that's when Karen Berger started Vertigo, and that's when there's like a new part of the continuity of the stories. But before that, Sandman was definitely part of the DC universe.
Yeah,
he interacted with Justice League. It was like
I remember Martian Manhunter appearing in one of the early issues. I was like, I didn't know the character back then. I was like, who's this? I was reading Sandman and I got to know Martian Manhunter through Sandman, which is crazy.
Yeah. The Elemental Woman episode. Wow, that's harrowing to this day. Wow.
So how does it work from here? Where do we go from here? Can you still remove the artist from the art? You know, with these big allegations.
I don't think you can, because I mean, look at J.K. Rowling, and I know my friend Sylph. He's a big Potterhead, but he doesn't want to spend money on give J.K. any money. But
oh, really?
But he'll still, yeah, because he's trans, and you met her a couple weeks ago. You met him a couple weeks ago, Eric.
Yes.
He's a really chill dude. He loves art, but he's also a big Potterhead.
Right, and there must be a struggle for them because, well, I follow J.K. Rowling. I do not think she's anti-trans because that's one of those logical fallacy things. It's like because she's so pro biological woman, it's been leveraged against her and unsuccessfully.
Yeah, this all came because after a few assaults that happened in women's shelter by trans women on cis women.
Yeah, I mean, look at Dress to Kill, 1978, Brian De Palma. It's John Lithgow the entire time.
Oh, it's a great movie, Eric. Wow, look at you.
He gets Angie Dickinson in the first act, man.
And yeah, and the whole thing was that a bunch of women's shelters stopped refusing to take trans women, and it's all snowballed out of control because they say that all women's shelters are now TERFs.
Yeah, and it's what leverage? What do wow, a label.
Yeah.
And a presumption because it's like, no, we really need to have a safer space.
Yeah. Comic Invictus says this. Never was a Gaiman fan. His work was too highbrow for me.
Highfalutin, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it was because of his writing style. He's very English.
Yeah, jeez, all the Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah, he used to use a lot of myths and classical literature.
Yeah,
there's a guy he gives immortality to, and he meets every 10 years, or was it, Craig? 30 years or so.
They do a deal, don't they, with his sister Death? He asks her, please don't take this guy. Just let's see what happens. He allows him to live, and he becomes immortal, doesn't he? It's fascinating story.
And they meet at the same restaurant in London, and that's been around for hundreds of years. And it's Morpheus just talking to the immortal man.
But yeah, I understand, MH. Comics Invictus, good to see you, man. Very highbrow. I got into Sandman via Hellblazer. I was reading Hellblazer first, back in Jamie Delano was writing it many, many years ago, and it was through that because there was a really good issue of the early Sandman with John Constantine. I think it was issue 3 or 2 or 3, if you remember. So
yeah, but I think it has the highbrow stuff has to do with his writing style and the way he was raised. But then you have someone what's his name? Garth Ennis, who's Irish, very rough and tumble. You could see that in the way he writes.
Garth Ennis is a huge fan of war comics, and that's part of growing up in I know he's from Northern Ireland, but it's the British comic scene at that time there were so many war comics. I don't know if you knew that back in the late 60s, early 70s. So he loves war comics like Battle. There was Action. There was Commando. I'm Commando right now, Eric, by the way.
These are just the British ones, right?
Yeah. So he grew up with that. He didn't get into superhero comics because of that. The British comic scene was very different.
Yeah. And plus he grew up around the Troubles, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he was in Northern Ireland. We used to hear about that on the news pretty much every week back then.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, I mean, the whole thing about I think it's an unfortunate thing that we lost Ed Piskor, but this was because the allegation, the hypocrisy that the Whisper Network and other other comic book pros would protect one of their own because of his allegations, and they have this one thing that believe all women. But what happens when one of your own is guilty of the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. As you just said there, one of your own. He's very, very high up in the industry. Is he too big to be taken down? I don't think so. It depends, but as Eric's been pointing out, these are still just allegations. It's not gone through a court of law yet.
It's
Nothing's
weird.
been
It's like
proven.
we've embraced, and also women's culture has embraced something such as Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey over the past 20 years. And these are huge fictional, touchstones with women. And they are about loving the bad boy. And especially with 50 Shades of Grey, it's about different levels of consent for different kinks and getting into. So if you're going to get into a relationship with Neil Gaiman, you're gonna you need to like, hey, this guy's into, he has some kinks, and and what is consent? Consent's not a checklist. It's not checking off boxes, as we like to make fun of the intentions of movie studios. It's an awkward give and take of permissions and yeses and nos and do's and don'ts. It's just and it happens over time as well. So just we've made consent such a clinician kind of checklist on its own clipboard. No, I mean, like, it's a bit more confusing than that because it's a bit more human than that, in my humble opinion.
It's a difficult topic, isn't it? It's a very difficult topic to talk about.
Yeah. So let's. All right.
I shamelessly read Savage Dragon, so I got a lot of shit for that.
Hey, Dwayne got me into that. Dwayne Murth, who's often in the chats of our comic book streams. Yeah, he got me into it. I think it's great fun, even though it is a little sus.
Dirty-minded. It's dirty-minded, and I like it. Like the boys today on the show, they were like giving me shit because of Maxine Dragon. I'm like, Maxine Dragon is a grown woman, though. I mean, I think it plays with tropes, but it's like, no, you can't you gotta walk your way back from that one and be like, hey, it's actually just fun.
Yeah. All right. So recently, last month, Dimond filed for bankruptcy, and this has been a huge blow. And Dimond has been on life support ever since the pandemic. And I just wanted to ask, what's this going to mean for small businesses and indie studios? Because like Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, they all decided to go to different publishers. But
distributors.
Yeah, distributors. And when you go, but now you got like other small indie studios like Udon, Boom Studios, Dynamite, Man Cave Comics. These people, these indie studios, they don't have distributors anymore. So, like, Sully, you talked to Wes on Wes's show this morning.
Just this morning.
Yeah. So, and you talked to one of the publishers from.
We talked to Matt Moylan this morning, and he is one of the one of the big crackers, big wheels at the Cracker Factory over at Udon. He's one of the directors. He's a writer and an artist, and they do a lot of. I believe Udon has access to the Capcom legacies.
Yes,
they're doing Final Fight.
Yeah,
they're doing, and they've done Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, Darkstalkers.
Yeah, so they've
also, Eric, I reckon you can make a real mean bowl of udon soup, can't you?
Like, and a dashi too, a proper dashi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The thing is, like, you need to have the the
Oh no, what have I done?
seaweed in the 40 and it can't be boiling water, or you have to remove it after a half an hour.
You do. It's important.
Yeah,
Udon, though,
or
a great name for a comic book publisher. I love it. Cheers to Udon.
Cheers to Udon. Seriously, and they'll make it. I think.
hope so.
Okay, so what we have to realize is that Dimond is in a special part of bankruptcy called Chapter 11. It's about reorganization of your debts and what you owe, and you're allowed to have be protected legally, and you need a promise to pay things, and that's part of it. Because if you fail that, you go to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which means liquidation of all of your assets and all of your properties to pay off all of this stuff. So they're in Chapter 11 right now, and they will be until mid-March, I believe. This might be the end of Dimond. I don't mind saying that. I want, to. It doesn't appear that the son wants to take the company over. Stephen Jeppe is 74 years old this year. And he just might want to retire at this point. And who do you give it's like Succession. Like, which one of my dumb kids are going to take over? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it might be better to bust it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause Dimond, with Dimond, the comic book wing is in trouble, but like Diamond Toys is still a thing.
Mm-hmm. I think they're buying out. I think they're going to sell those things off. Yeah. The best thing that could happen to Dimond is to be a local distributor. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if they can sell the toy distributing, that's
Yeah. So here we. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm a chef, so I'm just.
Right. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm sorry,
right.
Bandito. Before you go on, I don't know how it's going to work or affect the UK's distribution, because it's all their distribution in the UK comics is via Dimond, but it's actually Dimond UK, which I think might be a separate company or its own company.
Let's look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, go for it.
Yeah. 1 second. Let me.
Yeah, you're good. Should we vamp for you? Go for it. So, Eric, as I say, I've not lived in the UK, as you know, for years, but I didn't know that it all comes through Dimond UK, so I need to check up on it.
That now, Dimond UK through Dimond Distributors Incorporated, the restructure. It's on the top of their webpage. Dimond UK. In addition to our distribution centers in the US, Dimond also maintains a separate facility in England, Dimond UK, which serves all of the United Kingdom as well as Europe and other areas.
Oh, Europe too, right? Nice one.
Yeah, but they probably, it's Penguin Random House. Probably, that's where you get your Marvel comics now. You get your DC comics through Lunar. I mean, I bet you there's, there's a way. If
Okay.
I'm not too sure. What happened to Bandito? Did his mother-in-law get or stepmom coming?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm laughing. Have you seen any effect? Well, it's too early, isn't it? Any effect on your LCS? Yeah, have they talked about it?
A couple of weeks ago, right around when Dimond had to close one of their distribution centers.
Okay.
And just that's it. They cut it, and it took about 2 or 3 weeks for the supply chain to normalize. So there were late comics for about almost a month, and that was December, January. Even though you get maybe November, December, or right around there too.
Yeah.
And then it normalized and just yeah.
Do you think this was brought on by themselves, by the company?
Well, there's a big thing. They have this. There's the story of Dimond. There are a lot. And all you need to do is for anyone that's tuning in, I'll give you my 2 cents on it. But check out any of the videos that are out there by any of the notable creators. Just put that in your search engine. But Dimond has been basically a monopoly since the other smaller distributors that were around in the Bronze and Copper Age. Those everything basically consolidated, or I believe that Dimond bought them out. Maybe even hostile takeovers. I'm not too sure, but Dimond became the sole distributor of comics for 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah, since
Wow.
the image days and stuff. So that's also like previews, and because why do we have such a big spoiler culture? Why do it's about solicits, because solicits go out for 4 months, 3 to 4 months,
Sure.
because that's for your store to order them. You know what I mean? So and it's always been that way. So previews, when that was coming out in the 80s, before Wizard, and Wizard was remember Wizard comic book? I mean Wizard magazine.
I had a subscription to Wizard.
Wizard was the shit, but Wizard was part of that, part of the distribution thing, because it was about cluing you into things that were coming on the horizon within that 3-month window of solicitation.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So I found this article earlier today.
okay.
And it especially says right here. This was like when Chuck Parker announced the decision that was not made lightly, and I understand that this news may be as difficult to hear as it is for me to share. The Dimond leadership team and I have worked tirelessly to avoid this outcome, but the financial challenge we face have left us with no other viable option. And this just shows that they had no choice.
Yeah,
they were basically
on New York, and that would be taking care of the Northeast here, and that's where I would that services New England, Boston area. So that's why, part of that was why it's like, oh, you're not getting Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum this week. It's coming in next week. Stuff like that.
And especially when you go to the West Coast, like my neck of the woods, I had to wait 4 weeks to get Final Fight 3 when it came out, when it finally came in, and he's like, and my guy, Big John, he basically told me that this was the earliest he ever got it, because the other distributors the other shops have been complaining that this has been going on for a while with Dimond stuff. It's really hard, especially to see
It's interesting here, Bandito, just reading. It says that this is one of the reasons they've given for it on their homepage. Post-pandemic, the comic book industry at large has seen a decrease in consumer activity. So they basically say, less sales. But wait a minute, we've been told for years that, comics have never been better by many, many people.
Yeah.
That makes sense, does it?
Yeah, Kelly Sudakane and
many, many others.
And many, many others. They've been saying how comics were fine. We're not on life support, but I mean, I think this actually shows us otherwise.
Yeah.
Because right now, Dimond has had a monopoly over all distributors, all other distributors, and the thing is that I think who was. Do any of you guys remember that one interview with the publisher with one of the guys from Dimond and all the top guys from other indie studios like IDW
No, I'm drawing a complete blank.
That was a quickie, Eric. I'm impressed.
I even washed me hands, trust me.
I'm joking.
You
Oh
know,
my god.
urine might be a sterile fluid, but now with the J Law, Jennifer Lawrence doesn't wash her hands.
I don't like to focus on a negative, but just saying that they've actually admitted it on their homepage that basically consumer like buying is down, unfortunately, and that's one of the factors they're saying. One of the excuses they're giving.
Yeah,
People aren't buying comics as much as they used to, Eric. Can you believe it?
I can believe it, dude. Yeah, I mean, jeez. The comic book landscape here in Boston's changed a bit. The New England comics, it's where I go here in Quincy. It's been around for over 40 years. They used to have like 7 or 8 different stores in a local chain, and they've contracted to 3. And they had 5 recently, but 2 of them they sold to like other people in like that were part of the business, and that they bought them out. Like, hey, we're gonna buy out the Malden store and the Brookline store and give it a new name. So they're still open, and it's still the same people. But now there are only 3 New England comic stores, and this was like the second biggest, I would say, chain in New England, or at least Massachusetts, after Newbury Comics.
Yeah,
you might have heard of Newbury Comics. Dre, have you heard of Newbury Comics?
No.
Good stuff, cheap. I mean, it was a wicked fun time.
I thought Newbury was the wife of Tom Bombadil. Oh no, that's Goldberry. Sorry, never mind.
Goldberry. Oh, that's right. Newbury Comics it used to be a comic book store, in Boston.
Here we go. Here we go.
Now it's a Ketchke kind of place.
It was the interview on Dan Shaney's channel in 2021.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I think that during that interview, he had like a pompous attitude, like they just lost Marvel and DC to other distributors, but like he had this way of saying that the comics aren't going to ship unless I say they ship, and basically the other companies such as IDW and Dark Horse, they are like, well, we need to make up for what we lost during the pandemic, so see ya.
And they were the ones who were disruptive during the pandemic with pencils down. I mean, seriously, that's like, those. It was a ridiculous notion then. And what leverage do they have to tell you to stop production? Just, or even being creative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you think comic shops are worried? Comic shop owners, especially the smaller, independent ones, are they worried right now by this?
I talked to Carter about. He's mentioned it a few times, such as like Lunar and Penguin Random House give them free shipping, and they always and they're in better condition than Diamond. So you're paying for shipping for Diamond, and you're getting them in a kind of random and species kind of condition too, and you get. Just like,
yeah,
it must suck opening up a box and it's full of dings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen because my comic book shop is located in a small town, Waterfront Comics. Shout out to you, John.
Woo!
And
what's yours, Gray?
I don't have one. I don't have a comic shop.
Really? What's the closest one to you then? Would it
about
be...
a 12-hour drive to Tokyo. Or 1.5 hours on the plane. I can order though. I can mail order from them, but they're very limited to what they stock. It's mainly DC and Marvel, and they sell out really quick. Because they only order a few copies. So
yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, well, my comic book shop guy, he has a whole bunch of regulars, myself included. We come in, we buy our comic books in bulk, and we and we've been able to help him keep afloat. But I think this is going to be like, oh, New Gods. Is that any good?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's surprisingly good. It's
Yeah.
a bit wordy as usual. It's Ram V, so but the art's great,
Yeah.
isn't it, Eric? I love the art.
Yeah, I mean, both artists. The Highsawwood Highfather has this. Yeah, look at those. Those
Look at
thighs were
those
almost
thighs.
too much. They were almost too much for me. But she just had a kid. You know, I think
Yeah.
I think of Kirby's Big Barda. I got the Kirby fourth world.
Oh, I've got the
Right
book
there.
somewhere. Yeah. Oh, wow, you've got a massive one, ladies.
That
There we go.
weighs 9.6 pounds. That is, it's almost unreadable because it's ungainly. But you get the most classic first appearance of Big Barda. She's in that black bikini and she's just doing stretches.
Yeah. And
Nice street scene.
Yeah, even Kegel.
Cool. Good art.
Yeah.
Good art.
I know Ram V did like some of the Venom Wars with the Venom War Carnage.
Uh huh.
I haven't read any of his stuff because he has not done any Spider-Man stuff.
Detective Comics. You would be blessed if he. You know what? I would love to see a Ram V long form, 2-year long, like just big gossamer, Baroque story of just interweaving webs of. I can.
Spider-Man, a gothic opera.
Dude, that would be
Two.
awesome.
I would actually think I would actually like to see him do a Spawn story.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that could be pretty epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bandito, are you in? You just mentioned Spider-Man. Are you enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man at the moment?
Yes, I am. Sully, different
Sully? Who's
story.
that?
Sully,
I mean,
Really, Solly?
for Ultimate or ASM?
Ultimate.
Ultimate. I thought you enjoyed it.
I did. It was fine. I mean, it was.
I did like the issue 13.
It's been up and down for me, but it's when it's up, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's weird because I kind of like Ultimate Black Panther more because it's consistent. It brings fight scenes like almost every issue, and it's so as a superhero book goes. I mean,
Okay, to be fair, I'm not
Black
reading it,
Panther.
so yeah.
Oh, it's Ultimate Black Panther's a trip.
About
I
to
don't
your
mind it.
authority.
But
And-
no, go ahead.
Oh, but Ultimate Spider-Man, I just finished my yearly watch of The Sopranos, and I've done this several times. I've watched Sopranos once a year, and I've done that several years in a row now. And I watched Sopranos when it came out, and I was there that night with the finale, and so Sopranos has been one of the most influential shows because it's influenced 2 generations now of writers, and that's why you get talky scenes over food and in hallways, and then you have very few action scenes. It's more Sopranos kind of ruined everything in a way because that's all we're getting now. So this is Hickman thinking he's David Chase. This is the Sopranos Spider-Man. This is his big thing because it's got a very familiar feel to the pacing of the story. You'll have like a couple of big kinetic action scene issues, but then you'll have that one. There's been 3 of them. It was the Christmas issue, and then the dinner date issue, the double date, and it's like it's nothing. There's no Spider-Man. There's no fighting. It's just all talking, and but that's part of Hickman's timing of this, and this is The Sopranos on paper, and with Spider-Man instead of Tony Soprano, in a way. And hi, Fear Monarch, good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying it because like right now Peter's missing and Richard's actually stepping up as Spider-Man, and I like it because he actually meets Black Cat at the very end. Spoiler alert. The new Black Cat. And it's like
that race swap Black Cat.
She was already dark skinned
Was
in
she?
the other Ultimate
I didn't
Spider-Man.
notice.
Really? Yeah, she's race swapped.
She was already dark skinned in the other Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. And
But I mean,
was,
it's like having it was interesting because you have the son of Spider-Man versus the daughter of Black Cat. But they decided to end it, and I think we'll get the cliff notes next month because it's still going to be like Spider-Man and Harry are trapped in the Mole Man Kingdom, fighting dinosaurs, trying to escape.
That's the Savage Land, right? It's underneath.
No, the Savage. I think they still have their own Savage Land, but like
I thought it was a Savage Land.
Yeah,
right underneath Craven's mansion. With a convenient trapdoor.
Yeah, but it's
like
Kazar
will just show up.
it's
or is it Kazar?
Where's Commandy? Come on, Eric.
I think
that's DC.
It did say.
Oh no.
It's Kazar you're thinking of.
Oh Jesus.
It's Kazar or is it Kazar?
Kazar. It did say that it was the Mole Man's kingdom, underground kingdom under New York. So
I've seen Peter punching a dinosaur. Come on.
Yeah,
it's awesome. No, but I enjoyed that. Bandito, being serious for a minute, I liked when she's a daughter, isn't she? The daughter of Black Cat, who I think was a guy in this universe. Is that right?
Yeah,
right. But
I'm not sure. And
got injured.
It could be interesting how that develops. If they're going to have a relationship or they're going to fight or what,
Yeah, because you got like the teenage son of Spider-Man and the teenage daughter of Black Cat who's taking over her father's legacy.
Yeah. But Richard, even the suit said to Richard, you don't even have any superpowers. You know?
And
but
the reason
it's gonna be all the suit. The suit just shoot him at home.
How powerful is that suit?
And I think the suit's gonna end up being Venom
or Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
Real. I mean, so there's a clone angle to him right now as well. I think Jim said that to me. And Jim Warner of Weird Science comics reviews, and that was really that was interesting.
The only thing I didn't like about it was this is not the comic, but the solicitation was saying comparing it to the Craven's Last Hunt. I was like, wait a minute, this is Craven's first hunt. Is it the first thing we've seen in this universe? So
and this was actually a good palate cleanser after the two ASM books that came out this month.
Yeah, but Eric's enjoying ASM, Bandito. We are not, but he is. Come on, Eric, come on.
It's weird because, when is just good enough anymore? Sometimes I think, I guess we're all desperate for better Spider-Man stories. We really are. We're all tired of Peter being a loser. Peter was never a loser. Peter had the Parker luck, which meant sometimes it was good luck and sometimes it was bad luck.
Exactly.
But so we're done with this cycle of stories of Peter being a loser.
Yeah, and there are articles out there that saying Spider-Man needs to grow up. This status quo that's been going on for 20 years, people have been it's getting too repetitive now.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about this on Wes's this morning. Does Marvel need a reboot, like a crisis? And I brought up sliding timeline because that's a lot different than what you got over on DC, which you have crises and that those reset the clock. So there is no resetting of the clock on Marvel 616. It's sliding timeline. Sliding timeline is based upon Fantastic Four #1 in 1961, and so. In the early 80s, it was those were being written, those stories were 7 years after that event. So right about now, the sliding timeline is about 15 years. You have 15-year-old Spider-Man, and now he's 30 years old. He really is, So the past 20 years of comic book storytelling, that's like in superhero time, that's only got to be like about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but it's like one of the things that I really did not like. It's that this ultra depresso that he's having right now, angle that they're having right now, and it's like
I get that.
I
mean,
had enough of that. I had enough of that with Zeb Wells' run.
Zeb Wells,
my
yeah,
answer
same
to
here.
this is it's just storytelling structure. We're at the nadir of Act 2, and this is the hero is at their lowest. They're beaten, and all they get, is Act 1, inciting incident. You have conflict, and the hero usually comes up on it. By the end of Act 2, you've gone this this bell curve down, and he's at his lowest point, his nadir. So by the time you get to Act 3, you have a resolution. You're rooting for the hero, and
that's fair enough. Exactly. Yeah, Eric, I agree. That's fair enough. But I think he's behaving terribly to the people he loves or who care about him. And he let a robbery take place in a convenience store while he was being served there. He would never do that.
Yeah,
but he talked him out of it, and then Bailey jumps in, which was kind of weird. That was terrible art.
And also the whole thing with the whole character of Shay, she brings nothing to the table at all.
Sure.
She's
good for her. I mean, because she doesn't have to get involved with Peter's wacky life. She can be just a civilian.
Screw her. Screw her.
No, but he's treated her pretty terribly, hasn't he? He's just been ignoring her and well, whatever. Who are you again?
He's been really depressed. I mean, witnessed and
I'm depressed.
He experienced the deaths of millions of people.
But she's been. This is throughout the whole story. She has done nothing. She brought nothing to the table.
Sure, but he's everyone's going to blame Peter for being depressed, but he is depressed. He is really he's got the zap taken out of his eyes. Even Stephen Strange was saying, yeah, he's this is odd for him. He doesn't quit.
There are better stories when Peter decides to hang up the suit and not be Spider-Man anymore.
Right.
And this is not one of them.
No.
Well, and I think it's being done there's a bit of a comedic effect there with the pizza, and and then he's, which is fun because it's grief does terrible things to you. I mean, okay, here my personal anecdote. I lost my mom about 6 months ago. Guess what? I've been eating a lot. I've taken joy in eating, and so I'm actually seeing myself in Peter. Every scene he's in, he's just stuffing food in his face because he's dealing with grief, because food makes you feel better, and it's just and then sex, and he's this Maslow hierarchy of needs things. It's he's just gonna, he's coming out of his nadir, and it goes. He's got an upward trajectory from here.
What is this thing you call sex?
Yes, exactly. It's when man and woman.
Anyway, but I just think he's acting totally out of character. I understand, good storytelling means characters go through, ups and downs, and he's on the ultimate down. But I don't know. Is it the character? Who's that goddess? Is she called? Is it Cyrac or Cytrac?
Yes, Cyrac.
She's the most interesting character in the book, and it's a Spider-Man book. She's written really well.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been enjoying All New Venom.
Have you, Bandito?
Yes.
Wow.
I mainly like it because
is that Al Ewing or Steve Orlando?
Al Ewing, and okay. I like it when it has good action. It's got this good little mystery going on, and also the Paul hate.
Your heart when he's gonna be Paul. I bet it's $2.
No,
$2 American dollars.
Eric, did you read it? Is it worth reading? Yeah.
No. Give me those $2.
I will mail them for you. I got stamps.
I'll bet you 50 cents.
Stamps. I got envelopes.
I'll bet you a quarter.
The thing is that the people in the Venom office admitted that they hate Paul, and especially Al Ewing. He says in an interview, he said it's not going to be a story about. It's not going to be a story about. It's not going to be a story about Mary Jane. It's not going to be a story about. It's not going to be a Dylan Brock story. It's not going to be a Luke Cage story, and that sure as hell ain't going to be a Paul story. It's Venom. Not,
And then Nick Lowe jumped in the comments like, Paul's the best character in Spider-Man. What are you talking about?
yeah,
Just to wind up the fans even more.
it's just. I swear that
the ultimate Paul reference.
Paul is going. Paul is just Paul is just his self-insert.
Could be.
Everybody hates him, and he's like basically like a joke character. And the only person who isn't in on the joke was Nick Lowe and Zeb Wells, because they.
I mean, think about it, man. You're trapped in some kind of post-apocalyptic, survival story with the hottest redhead in the world. You're sweaty and you're banging and desperation.
Why are you sweaty?
It's
Look,
just like
classic.
Paul,
imagine your kids asleep. Yeah, come on.
The thing.
Tomorrow.
Hey, Paul did that. It was his fault. It was his damn fault. And on top of that, he wanted to leave those kids behind. And people have saying, "Oh, Paul's like Peter because he did the same thing." Bullshit. Peter was 15 when Uncle Ben died. Paul was a grown-ass man when that happened.
Wow. Passion from Bandito. I love it. Come on.
All right.
No, actually, being serious, you've maybe want to give that a shot, All New Venom. I'll give it a try because, believe it or not, I'm enjoying Al Ewing on Metamorpho. It's really funny. Here's that, Eric.
It's a all new Venom. It's pretty standard.
Okay.
It's a who is it? And so we're given 6 characters that the new Venom could be.
4.
And I don't think there are any of them. But it starts off Robbie Robertson, Rick Jones,
Luke Cage, and
Madam Mask.
That's right. I remember it now. Yeah.
That's it. There was only 4 of them.
Okay. And which one's which? One of these has to be the new Venom, and I think it's Paul.
No, it's probably either Rick Jones or Robbie Robinson.
It's gonna be Paul.
It's not Paul.
Eddie, we need to eat Paul's brains.
Plus, Venom made it pretty clear in Venom War that he hates Paul, so he has more class than that.
But I mean, I thought I thought that there was a setup, like calling Jackpot the sidekick in issue 1. That she's introduced.
It's a sidekick, and then Paul was introduced as the assistant, and Dylan was introduced as the detective.
Jackpot, what a character! Fantastic. Yeah. She was Paul's Jackpot. You know what I mean?
I'm here.
Fuck off, you guys.
Oh Jesus!
All right.
Sorry.
All right. This is gonna end the stream. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Well, thank you for having us, and
I
hope putting up with us, being bonkers.
I'm looking forward to if we're going to give quick recommendations. Anything Energon Universe.
Yeah.
It's great. It's G.I. Joe and the Transformers is I love the Transformers, but also G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero number 313 came out this week. It's been such a fun comic book. I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. Behold, I have the compendium. The Skybound compendium right here. So I'm a huge Generation 1 G.I. Joe fan. Larry Hama's the new stuff. It's so good. It's fight scenes. It's not complicated. It's fun. So I mean, there you go.
I remember fun.
All right. So one of the recommendations I would have to give is go to the Kickstarter for Heavy Metal #1. They're going to relaunch the series.
They're going hard in the paint that it's going to be the old heavy metal.
Yeah.
Like we're going to have tits.
What? Did someone say boobies?
Yeah.
I've got a recommendation for The Scorched. It's the only Spawn book I'm still reading regularly. It's really good. It's a simple, fun team book. It actually works, and it's only $2.99 still, folks. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
$2.99.
So thanks a lot. All right. Thanks. That's our recommendations. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, if you're watching this on replay, don't forget to like, share, comment,
smash that like button,
subscribe, And as I always say, keep playing and God bless.